Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be showing you how to do your brows using 3 different techniques using a powder, a pencil, and a pomade or a gel. Very natural. I'm going to be showing you how to get a very natural looking brow and doing brows the proper way. I really hope that you guys enjoy it. Let's just jump right into it. So guys, when you're putting on your brows, you really need to come all the way in with the black pencil. Fill in any sparse areas until they're even. Oops. There we go. Woot woot. So this is the final look. We're flaw free, we're fabulous, and we're strutting on every basic, obviously. We're gonna get started because this needs to stop right now. So not everybody likes the whole concealer thing going on with the eyebrows, which I will show you how to do properly towards the end of this tutorial. I'm going to be using this little brow palette. This is Wet n Wild, and this is an ash brown in its hood. I've had it for a while. Yes, judge me. It just has a really dark brown shade, a medium brown shade, and a waxy pomade. This is maybe $2 at Walgreens or CVS. Very cheap, but I love it because this is dark enough for my skin tone and hair color. What you first want to do when your eyebrows are a little bit unruly or they're not waxed is just kind of map out the shape. And how you do that is you just take your brush and you go from the outside corner of your nostril up through to the beginning of your brow, and anything that's on this side of the pencil can be waxed or shaved or whatever. Or if you're not into waxing or shaving your brows, just don't fill that in, of course. And then to get that arch correct, you want to go at the end of your nostril through to your iris, and then you want to go through to your brow, and that's where your arch is supposed to be. So the end of your nostril to the corner of your eye and through, that is where your brow is supposed to end. So just get those 3 points down, and then you'll know where to map out your eyebrow shape. So my eyebrows get waxed pretty often, so I already know what shape it's supposed to look like. When you're mapping them out, just avoid this hair underneath when you're filling it in, and I'll show you how. I'm just gonna take my palette and I'm gonna start off with the darker shade. I'm gonna put that right at the very beginning of my arch. So you want to start at your arch because that's where most of your product is going to be. I'm literally just filling in those sparse areas so it looks something like that. Then I start to build around it, so I come in towards the body of my brow and I start to fill in those areas. Now this powder is pretty dark, so it covers sparse areas very easily. If you have lighter brows and you find that your powder isn't taking very well to your brows, like if it's very sparse, use this wax that comes with it. It's supposed to help you keep your brows in place, and put that on there first. And what this is going to do, and this is going to give your brow powder something to grip to, kind of like a primer. And then take your powder and go over it, and that's going to help that powder catch to the sparse areas in between your hairs on your brows. This little angled brush is awesome. This is by Ardell, and you can get that from Walgreens. I like to use this to comb the product through the brow, just so I'm not adding too much onto it. I think that sometimes we can look a little bit too much with the powder and the pencils and such like that. We put too much product because we think we need it in the area. If you just take your spoolie and comb through it, it'll disperse that product through evenly, so you're not putting too much on your brow. Then you know what I'm talking about. I'm a bad bitch, what? You know you've done it. It's okay. We all start somewhere, but just stop, okay? I love you. I'm not messing with the beginning of my brow yet. Do that part last. So once your arch is plotted out, it's easier for me to see where my tail should be. So I use longer strokes to fill in my the end of my tail, just because the tail of my brow is a little bit more sparse. And don't forget to disperse. Disperse, boo-boo. I'm taking a little bit more of that wax and I'm putting it here because I tend to fill in my brows a little bit thicker when I'm using a powder and if my eyebrows aren't done yet. And I tend to focus more so on the upper part of my brow because all of this down here it needs to be waxed. So I kind of create that shape on the top. Okay, and now that looks pretty nice. Now to deal with the beginning of the brow, you do not want to dip your brush back into your powder. Just take whatever's on it and literally just focus on the sparse areas of the beginning of your brow and try and fill those in very, very lightly. You really want to focus that spoolie when you're combing it through at the beginning so you can really get that excess product off of the beginning of your brow, because I know you've seen it when sometimes your brows, you start filling your brows here, you have so much product on the angle on your angled brush, you're going to put too much and that's going to make your eyebrows look really angry and like you're just real pissed off all day long. You just look like you had half of your Chipotle sitting in the fridge and somebody found it and ate it and left the carton in the fridge. Boo-boo! So just start at the arch, move your way towards the tail and the body of your brow, and then come back to the beginning of your brow so that we can look happy, because we are happy. So that's just the general shape, and you want to do that with pretty much anything that you're using. You want to keep that in mind to just be very, very light-handed. You can see that there is a difference between the two, but this one is filled in and more naturally filled in. Now once you get into pencils and pomades, which I'm going to show you in just a second, it does look a little bit more defined, but you can still do it in a way where it does look natural, and I'm going to show you right now. With a pencil, pretty much same deal. You plot out where the beginning, middle, and the end of your brow is going to be. Comb your brows up so that you can see exactly what you're working with. This is a eyebrow pencil by Milani, and this is in the darkest one. They have like ones for blondes, for brunettes. Again, I'm going to start off at my arch, and it's a little bit harder to catch those very sparse areas, especially if the hair is thicker. So what I like to do is I like to place it and then comb, because it's a lot easier to cover your brow with a pencil than it is a powder, because your spoolie is just going to kind of pick up the powder a little bit more and disperse it, whereas with a waxy pencil it's still going to lay over the hairs nicely. So you can comb them through and still get that filled in look without it being too harsh. So as I continue to fill it in, I'm combing as well. Little tiny check marks. And I didn't use long strokes like I did with the powder on the tail, because like I said, a waxy pencil has a little bit more product that's coming off of it, so I can use little tiny check marks and still get that same effect. Again, avoid the sparse hairs down here and just try and focus on that shape that you were using for the beginning, middle, and end. I'm not cleaning up the brows yet with any concealer because I want you to see what brows are supposed to look like when they're really natural without the whole concealer trick. That's why I'm not cleaning up yet with this pencil, but I will show you right after this. So with the beginning of the brow, I take whatever is on the spoolie and I just comb the beginning up. That's with it no product. That's with the pencil. Still very natural. And also with the pencil, what I like to do is sometimes I'll take my spoolie And I'll take a lighter brown powder, like so, and I'll dip it in there, and then I'll comb it through the beginning of my brow if I don't want to have a really dark beginning of the brow. I'll do that, and that makes it even more natural. So just a tip for you. We've done our powders and we've done our pencil. Now we're gonna move on to a pomade. Now this is actually a gel eyeliner that I like to use. This is by Wet n Wild, but they make things like obviously the Dip Brow pomade by Anastasia. They also have these little ones by Ardell that you can get from Walgreens or CVS. That's where I got mine, and that's how I got this brush with it. So there's a variety of different pomades that you can use. I'm just going to use this one by Wet n Wild today because it's one of my favorites. I'm just going to start off the same way I had with the other two. Brush in the hairs up, map out the shape. Taking my little brush here. The brow pomades, they come off a lot more, you get a lot more product when you're using them. So a lot more product's going to come off of your brush. So you definitely want to have a lighter hand. You definitely want to be careful with the pomades because you can look real angry and pissed off very quickly, okay? When I use a pomade, I start with the end of my brow and I get that plotted out first. So again, I'm using those kind of longer check marked strokes. If you get a lot on your hand, just take it and wipe it off a little bit. And I start the tail when I'm working with a pomade for some reason. This is what I'm talking about when you want to kind of work underneath the brow and get that shape going first. And I really like this particular Wet n Wild gel liner because it is a really nice color for my brows, obviously. And I like how creamy it is. I'm going right underneath the lining of my brow so that I can get the shape that I want first. And with the beginning of my brow, I am gonna go all the way across, but I'm not pressing very hard into the skin, so I'm barely tapping on the underlining of my brow because I want it to be, again, lighter in the front, more heavy and darker in the tail. You do have some playtime with the Wet n Wild gel liners. Again, this is an eyeliner, so it's not made for your brows, but this is sort of a free country and we can do whatever we want to. So then I like to take it and I like to start to plot out the top of my brow. I do this more so often because I do want my brows to have a better shape, especially when they're not done. So I like to go over the tail end of my brow. Whoa, that's a lot. Whoa, boo boo. But then I like to go over the tail end of my brow, extend it how I want it, and then I like to go into the body of my brow with whatever's on it. I'm not re-dipping it back in, and I'm starting to fill that part in. I'm just going to take some of my spot cleaner, which I do have a video for coming up, and I'm just going to take that off because the gel eyeliners can bulk up a little bit onto your brush, so you just want to take the bulk of that product out of the bristles, and that's what a spot cleaner does. I'm dipping my angled brush back in, but I'm literally tapping it and I'm taking it off. I'm filling in those very sparse areas with that. Now, to keep the brows looking more natural, I don't press very hard into the hairs or the skin. I literally just let the angled part and the slimness of the brush get into it and just let it do what it do. The front of the brow, I'm just going to take that and lay my brush kind of horizontally and just flick up into the beginning of my brow. And then I'm just taking my spoolie and I'm going where that line is on the bottom, and I'm literally just going over that and pushing it up into the hairs. And that's gonna leave it more of that natural blurred out effect in the beginning of the brow and not so hard, while the end of it is more sculpted and defined. To make this look really clean, if you like the whole carved out highlighted look, I'm just going to take a little tiny concealer brush like this one. I'm just going to take my concealer. It looks like this. As you can see, it is not that much lighter than my skin tone at all. A lot of people like to use this to clean up their brows with. I don't like to use it just because it is too light. I like to use something that's a little bit more peachy, a little bit more color corrected, and I like to use something that's darker because it gives your brows a more natural and cleaner look without it looking too yeah. But we're gonna take this concealer and I'm just really gonna go right underneath that line, and I'm just dragging it and making very short strokes. I'm going right underneath that arch. I like to start at the arch and I move down the tail, and then I come back towards the front. And then I take my finger and I'm literally tapping right over that line and sort of on the line where my eyebrow hairs are, because I'm pushing it into the hairs, if that makes sense, so that there isn't a clear concealer line. I'm pushing it into the hairs a little bit. For the top of my brow, I'll take whatever foundation I'm wearing that day and I will take a little bit off of the cap. And I do that again because I don't want that super highlighted look. And then I'll just blend it up into the skin. I know some folks like to use a little bit of that lighter concealer, and this is how you can use that properly. Just take your concealer that is lighter and I literally just tap it where that line is, right at the, I literally just tap it on the arch of my brow and I just tap my finger over it. You can see that it is very much more sculpted, but this is how you can do it so it's not so we winning. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Now for colors, if you kind of have dark hair like me, definitely recommend this pomade, well this Wet n Wild eyeliner. This is in Cocoa Riche. If you have dark hair but it's not that dark, again, Ardell, this is perfect. I use these for models that are white but their hair is darker. I'll use this pomade to fill in their brows. I just got new ones for it. If you have blonde hair, this is a really good one. In your fair skin, this is also by Ardell. And you can, and this is just blonde, that was medium brown. And if you have dark hair, the Wet n Wild one is great, but they also have a dark one in the Ardell set. Also same thing for the powders in the Wet n Wild, and same thing for Milani's eye pencil. That's how you can clean up your brows with a concealer the right way, the proper way. If you want to have a more natural effect to your brows, but you want them to be more sculpted with the gel. Now, I didn't show you how to clean up with the powder and the pencil because it's literally the exact same technique. Just go under your brows with a concealer, tap that line out between the two with your finger, and go over the top with your foundation, and you'll get a very natural, sculpted, clean looking brow that looks like it's been waxed, but it wasn't. Yeah, I hope that helps you guys out.
Beat. No one can tell me anything. No one can tell me nothing. I'm a bad bitch, I'm a bad bitch, what? I'm a bad bitch, I'm a bad bitch, what do you be? We work, we. My name is Momo, yeah, and I be facing it, and I'm so good at it, yeah. Every day a mile,
I really hope that you guys like this video. Please like and thumbs it up if you do. And of course, subscribe if you already haven't. Like, obviously, I'm out here showing you guys how to beat face correctly. I need you guys to subscribe so you don't miss another one. I know. Anyway, I hope this helps you guys out some. I hope that you guys can be beat and ready to go.
Time to model.
I really, really like food. Quick tip Tuesday. So we're going to be rejuvenating those